Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mel. I grew up playing outside.
And I grew up doing something meaningful, watching movies and TV.
I never had cable, and we finally bought a VCR about the same time DVD players hit the market.
Throughout our marriage, Mel has sadly missed many of my pop culture references and movie quotes.
So it's time to catch up on all the films I missed.
Well, hello there. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you this fine day?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you in the mood for a film?
I'm in the mood for a movie. Let's do this.
Okay. Do you have any idea what we're watching today?
No clue. Nothing up the sleeve.
I was going to say that joke. Is there anything up my sleeve? On the left, on the right? Touch my ankle, my wrists very gently. I had this whole thing worked out in my mind. You just pulled the rug right out from under me.
Ooh,
Wow.
snap.
So you don't have any idea?
No.
Okay. Not even an idea somewhere out there just floating around in the ether.
All I know is that our kids are watching this movie. So
That's true.
It's rated G or PG or something kid-friendly.
Oh, that's what you think.
Superman 2.
That's a good guess. No, it is called An American Tail.
Oh my gosh. The animated film
Yes.
with the mice.
Have you seen this film?
I have seen the film when I was a kid. I saw it when I was a kid.
Okay.
And we read the book.
Whoa, you know way more than I do then.
Have
Maybe
you
we
not
should-
seen it?
I have seen it, definitely. I have impressions as a youth that are
Yeah.
in my mind.
Oh, some things in this movie really scared me.
I vaguely remember that, but I don't remember any of what they are.
There's a big cat. There's a big cat that's scary.
Okay.
And
Right.
there's something that's fat. What is it? There's a fat animal. I also remember that when
Mhm.
my mom was reading this book one
Mhm.
time for
Yeah.
bedtime. I was that little, I
yeah.
remember. And there was a part where an animal sneezed
Mhm.
in the book and she sneezed. And we were like, oh, it's perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Giggle, giggle, giggle.
Wow. So you're familiar. I wasn't sure. This is always the dicey part of this
Mhm.
whole thing.
Mhm.
Is I want to surprise you, but I have to just kind of figure out. So
Well, So
yeah.
I have impressions of the movie, but I don't have the story. So
Okay.
it's really cool that we're watching it again and we're going to
scar our
induce
children.
fears into our children again, just like we had. It's great.
I'm always interested to see if the things that, we have
Mm.
big impressions on, like when we were kids, are scary to them or whatever.
Yeah. Like when we watched Pee Wee Herman's
Yes.
Big Adventure.
They,
Which,
Large Marge scared the snot out of me as a kid.
me too. And our girls didn't flinch at
Nothing.
Large Marge.
They thought it was funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who knew the world today? All right. You ready to go check this out? Oh, what?
Yeah, I just wanted to say
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman, rest in peace.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, but yes, I am ready to watch this movie and the popcorn's ready. Let's go.
Let's go do it.
This holiday season, Universal Pictures brings you a very special motion picture experience. The first animated feature film presented by Steven Spielberg. An American Tale. The story of one family's journey to America and Fievel, their son, who got lost along the way.
Fievel? Fievel?
An American Tale, a Don Bluth film.
Whoa, all right. I'm fighting the urge to sing right now.
Don't fight the urge to sing.
Somewhere out there,
Oh, that classic, wonderful song. It was so good to hear it again.
that song was huge.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, it was, I think it won a Grammy, and it also was like this was made in the 80s, and it was kind of like a revival of like the 1950s. There were huge songs from movies and stuff like that, like animated films. And this one was like that. Like it just was everywhere. I remember hearing it all the time.
I don't remember hearing it, but it is seared in my head. So I know it was part of the fabric of our childhood for sure.
I'm pretty sure that the studio version, where they have the professional singers singing it, not the little kids.
Yeah.
That definitely seeded in my brain my ability to sing vibrato.
That's where it comes from?
That's part of it, because I was quite young when I saw this film. So then when the credits were going, you hear the somewhere out there. So that definitely like wedged itself into my mind. Yeah.
This was really cool to see again and share with our kids. And
Wait, did we
it was not
Yeah.
The Secret of NIMH.
I was going to say, I think we discovered, had you seen this movie?
I think so, because I knew the song.
That doesn't,
But
it was all over the radio waves.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Were there any parts of the movie that like you were like, oh yeah, there's the X, there's the Y? Oh.
Fievel and his sleeves that never, like, they're always too long.
Uh-huh.
And yeah,
Okay.
I can't point out anything specific, but I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Well, you have seen the. We're getting ahead of ourselves. This was not the movie The Secret of NIMH, which is what we were both thought we were talking. I thought
Yes.
you were talking about An American Tail when I asked you, and you thought we were talking about The Secret of NIMH.
Yeah.
And I did a bad job and didn't ask you more clarifying questions. So shame on me. I was too excited to go watch the movie.
Yeah, so when I was describing a book that my mom sneezed
Yes.
during, that was The
Yes.
Secret of NIMH.
Yes.
And the scary, like, fat animal
It was a rat.
was from The
Yeah.
Secret of NIMH.
Oh my goodness. I was scarred by that one too.
That thing's so scary. American Tail was not as scary
I'm a
as
little
The Secret of NIMH.
I'm a little scared to think about watching The Secret of NIMH now. I don't think I've watched that one since I was a little kid.
I haven't, for sure.
Oh, yes. We should watch that on a Halloween night.
Which came first, Secret of NIMH or American Tail?
That is a great question, which I'll have to look up. I'm going to guess The Secret of... No, I'm going to guess American Tail. That's just... Yeah. But anyway, this is a great time for you to actually give us a summary of the film. So,
Okay,
what's
An
this one
American
about?
Tail. Oh, it's so good. So it's about a family in Russia of mice that immigrate to the United States because cats burned down their house. And they had this idea that there were no cats in America.
Yeah.
So they got on a boat.
Yeah.
Just like people used to do.
Mhm.
And traveled across the ocean. There was a storm, and little Fievel, the son, got lost
Mhm.
in a bottle.
Mhm.
And so they arrived in New York, and Fievel arrived as well. But they have to he has to find his family, and his mom and dad think that he's gone, but
Yeah.
his sister doesn't think that he died.
Somewhere
so she
out
still
there.
has hope. Yeah, that's the sweetest thing. It's him
Yeah.
and his sister singing Somewhere Out There as a duet.
Yeah.
Which maybe I haven't seen the movie because I didn't know that.
I don't think you'd seen the movie. I think you saw a preview.
Maybe.
And that everything you
That was enough.
everything you described is like he's in baggy clothes and there's the song Somewhere Out There. That's like what you knew. And there were mice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was your first time seeing this movie.
This was Steven Spielberg's first
Animated
full-length
film.
animated
Yes.
film.
Correct. Yes.
And that's super cool.
I know.
It was it's a great movie and like totally safe for kids. It's not like
Oh, yeah.
one of those where you remember it being a good movie and then you show it to the kids and you're like,
Yeah.
ugh, cringe. No, none of that. It was great.
Yeah. I think the only part that's like intense is because it was literally portraying like the persecution of, Jews in different, ethnic groups in Russia. And they were fleeing from that. That was kind of like what the cats were,
Yeah. Yeah.
And Steven Spielberg is Jewish, and Fievel's actually that's his grandfather's name.
Oh.
Yeah. And he had a
That's so
couple.
sweet.
He had a couple scenes in there that were like at least one that was like a story that his grandpa told him.
Oh.
Like his grandpa told him about how they used to like look through the windows. Like Jews were only allowed to look into the classrooms and listen to lessons through the windows. They couldn't go in.
No.
And there was a scene where Fievel like looks through the glass at a class or something.
Did his grandpa also play the fiddle? Because Fievel's dad played the fiddle and it was key to the story.
That guy actually, the actor was chosen because he had a similar role in the movie Yentl.
Oh.
I've never seen that. I've heard of it. It's Barbara Streisand. And
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Yeah. So that was interesting. This movie. Oh, go ahead.
One note about Steven Spielberg and his family connection: we have to see The Fabelmans. We haven't seen it yet,
That's true. We do.
so I think that should be our next. Not for the podcast necessarily,
Oh,
but
okay.
for us, we should just watch that movie
I
soon.
mean, it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
That's right, we can.
We're grown up.
I'm grown up.
Yeah, I'm occasionally grown up. This one too, like the reason I chose this one is because we just went on a trip to New York
Mhm.
and we went to Ellis Island and we looked up our family history and we got to like walk in the places that people, came through immigration in the halls. And if anyone's never been, it's really cool. Like being there and hearing the audio tours they had that you can listen to as you walked around. It was just wild. It was cool.
Yeah, go and spend like the whole day.
Mhm.
Listen to the audio tour. It's free and it's fascinating. And there's
Yeah.
sound bites of interviews with real people who went through there.
Mhm.
Real mice as well.
Real
who
mice.
went through there.
Yeah.
Well, it was great because this movie like showed all of that
Oh yeah.
as
Mhm.
through the mice
Totally.
eyes.
Even-
Which,
yep.
as we were watching it, I was thinking like, it is so cool. This is kind of like the zombie take on movies, where you can cover something serious through the eyes of a different like storyteller. So
Yeah.
this was through
Genre.
the
Yeah.
animals'
Mhm.
eyes, but it was super serious and meaningful and
Yeah.
touching. But just through the mice.
Yeah. They even, equip. One of the things we learned on our Ellis tour was like the immigration, like the officers who were like taking names and stuff, they didn't change people's names. They just literally transposed what was on the manifest. But that was like a common misconception. Like,
Mhm.
your name is now Smith and it used to be Simowitz or whatever it was,
Yeah.
So they actually did that in the movie too. They
Yeah.
were like saying names and they're like, all right, your name is blah. So
But
Yeah.
now we know the truth. We
Now we
learned
know the
it from
truth.
Ellis Island.
we learned it. Had a
Oh.
nerd moment when I saw that.
We also the Statue of Liberty is prominent in this movie and has
Yes.
a role, and it's
Yes.
really, really cool.
Yeah, like we were there, and obviously the Statue of Liberty is amazing, beautiful. But one of the things we were like thinking was like, man, it'd be cool to see it in its original copper,
Yeah, yeah.
bronze,
Copper.
copper. I was right, copper, and then they actually have it there animated in copper form, which
Mhm.
was pretty cool.
I know. And then you get to fly around at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Part of the thing too, like when Spielberg was working on this one, Don Bluth was the director, and he, like Don Bluth was. They were talking about making it so the world was just a mice world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Don Bluth was like, I think we should have it be like a secret society, like the world you don't see, like in The Rescuers. Remember The Rescuers?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love
Yeah.
it.
And-
I love how he described it as a secret society.
Yes.
Perfect.
So Spielberg went and checked out. They were going to, like, the original concept was like Robin Hood, the Disney Robin Hood, the Fox one.
okay.
So, but then he had Spielberg watch The Rescuers, and then he was like, oh yeah, that was cool. And that's why they did that.
The best thing about movies like this, for
Mhm.
me,
Yeah.
is seeing what mice do with human everyday objects.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite thing. I
Totally.
don't remember. Nothing jumps out at me from this one, but
Well, I mean, they were seamstresses, and
yeah,
and then they lived in like a carpet bag, right, or like a
it was
seamstress
like a doctor's
doctor's bag, or was it
bag?
It look. I took it as that, like they had picked that, but it could have been a doctor's bag.
It was. I love that about little mice
Yeah.
movies.
Oh yeah, The Rescuers was really good with that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The Borrowers. That's a Ghibli studio one
Oh okay.
that I don't think you've seen, but
I don't know if I've seen that,
that
one.
one's
yeah.
really clever with human stuff too.
Nice.
Oh, it makes you want to be a mouse a little bit.
Like, except for all the
be
cats.
in
Yeah.
that secret society that's like little,
Uh-huh.
and you don't need much. They don't need much food.
It's true. You just drop a crumb and then they eat for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. It is nice. So was there anything about this movie that surprised you or was unexpected?
The girls and I both were kind of surprised at how many close calls Fievel had. It was
Sorry.
what?
I'm laughing because the other thing was how many close calls, and this was something we all laughed about.
I was
and-
going to get to that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep
Um,
going.
Well, so first of all, they had close calls where Fievel would maybe be walking by
Mhm.
just when his parents were turned the other
Oh,
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in the
Mhm.
market at one point, and they
Yeah.
were in the same places at the same time, but just
Mhm.
never quite saw each other. That was cool, because you have to think like New York is so big.
Yeah.
How is this mouse gonna find his family?
I
Like,
definitely,
it's too big.
yeah,
But he was in the same society, so it made more sense.
totally. Can confirm that as well because we were just there. Like, it's big. Yeah.
And there are a lot of mice.
There are a lot of mice. We saw
There are
rats, but
rats,
yes,
yeah.
there are a lot.
A lot of rodents.
Yes.
So you were going to bring up the other part
Yes.
that really jumped out at us. Go ahead.
Well, the girls just kept going like, "Where's his hat?" Because there's this big
Yes.
deal about it's this intergenerational hat.
Right.
Fievel was the 4th generation to have it. So the girls were always concerned whenever he would fall down a drain or go check out something XYZ or take a bath or whatever it was. And his hat would be gone. And he'd be doing like, I don't know, a minute or two in the scene in the new location. And all of a sudden his hat was just magically there.
Yeah, in his hand,
Yeah.
or like maybe he had it tucked into his belt the whole time. It was always falling off of him.
I'm pretty sure that the hat was magic. Like, if you look back through the whole movie and you watch it, if he didn't have that hat, I don't think he would have survived the storm in the beginning. The hat brought the bottle to him that he found.
Well, that was his family connection.
Yeah.
So
The
maybe,
hat, yeah.
maybe that's it.
It's just got some magic, generational magic in there. So hold on to those hats. Don't donate them. You never know when they're going to save your life.
Yeah. Well, don't you feel that way about things that you have from like your grandparents?
Yeah, a little
Like,
bit.
I
Yeah.
have a couple things that like my grandma made. Like she was a wood
Mhm.
carver.
Yeah.
And so when I look at it, I just think about her and her making it in her hands, going
Mhm.
and doing the painting, and
Yeah.
it makes you feel connected.
Yeah, there's like an energy that kind of like passes down through through the years. You can just feel connected to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So what was your actual favorite part of the movie? That was stuff that surprised you. What was your favorite part?
I really liked the way that the clever way that they took care of the cat problem, which was towards the end.
Yeah.
All of these mice, there was a really pretty little mouse who was like leading the charge.
Yes.
To get rid of the cats and like
Mhm.
stand up to them and not
Right.
just like take it.
This is America.
Yes. And so they had this huge plan. Like there was on the dock,
Mhm.
there was this old like house of
It's like an old
Horrors
museum,
or
like a
something?
Ripley's Believe It or Not type thing, I think. Yeah.
something old world.
Mhm.
And you don't see this at the end, but they're planning something and the cats have to be on the dock at the right time, and it's all like specific, and you find out it's
Very.
because
Mhm.
there's this huge like mechanical, is it a rat?
They
Or-
make a giant, I think it's a giant mouse.
A giant mouse.
It's like a
Okay.
giant mouse because they're mice and they wanted to make a giant mouse that would scare off the cats.
So it's in the thing and it wheels out at the right time.
Mhm.
And I mean, things kind of go wrong, but it ends up working out.
Yeah.
And the reason they had to be at the right time is because there's a boat heading to China that's loading. And so it scares all the cats onto the boat, and then the boat leaves. Boom! All the cats are gone. Mad problem solved. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
I loved it.
I also thought it was funny that there were like 6 cats that were the only in New York. There were 6 cats that were just the bane of the mice's world. You know?
Okay, this is another funny plot twist though
Yeah.
that I forgot about until
Oh
now.
yeah.
One of the
Spoilers.
cats,
Yes.
one of the cats is actually a rat in disguise.
Yes. How? Yes. The plans on that, I'm going to hold back my nerd brain. It's fine. I'm going to let it go. But he must have been so small, like such a tiny cat. Like a dwarf cat, maybe? He was very small to be hanging out with, the mice.
But he was smart.
He was very
And
smart.
so that made him the leader, and
Totally.
that worked to his advantage.
It sure did. Yeah. that was such a random, silly part of the movie, too. You're right.
What about your favorite part?
I mean, it's so cliche, but I love the sequence they did with Fievel and his sister. Like,
Mhm.
that's one of those where it has to be your favorite, I think. It feels a little weird having it be your favorite because it has to be, and I don't like being told what to do. So
And no one here is telling you what to do. If you have another favorite
my
part-
emotions, my feels are telling me what to do. And when I see a little kid singing and his little, his voice
I
cracks when he's
know.
singing,
It's so cute.
it's hard not to love that. I also really liked, I forgot about the No Cats in America, and I really liked that sequence a lot too.
That song is really great.
And anytime they show in a movie where it shows ships crossing the ocean,
Mhm.
that just like really resonates with me too. Just what it must have been like. Because
Mm.
I've crossed an ocean once, a sea, And I was in a pretty bad storm, and it was crazy.
Wait.
And yes, go
The
ahead.
sea you crossed, though, is not that big. It wasn't. You weren't crossing the Atlantic.
No, but it was a sea.
Okay.
It was the Irish. It was
how
the
long
Irish.
were you on the boat?
It was the Irish Sea. We were on the boat for overnight. It was like
Oh, okay.
10 hours or something like that.
Okay.
9. It was overnight.
Okay.
I could look it up and see how long it is if you want, but
So you can relate to this.
it wasn't like a ferry ride to Mackinac Island. It was the Irish Sea, and it was like an overnight trip. I can relate to that because I felt what it was like on a boat, and that was a
Mhm.
modern boat versus the boats throughout history that people had to be on. So I really like the way they gave the ocean a personality in this one. I love when they do that in animation.
Yes, that was
And
so
it looks
cool.
like Poseidon or a monster or something kind of like tossing the ship around.
Yeah, that was really
The
cool.
animation was really good in this film.
Yes,
like-
absolutely.
Right on par with like Disney animation, I think.
And that was like the old still frame animation, right?
Yeah,
Like
they were-
every
yeah.
scene, every frame was hand drawn.
Hand drawn. Yep.
Oh, that blows my mind.
It's amazing that, all those, I love those ones too. I like the new stuff as well, but just the fact, the coordination it takes to do all that, an
Mhm.
organization to keep all that straight just is amazing.
It's interesting. The movement of the characters is kind of more fluid
Mhm.
in this movie. And is that because of the animation, or
I mean,
we have to go back and look at other
yeah,
old
the
animated ones now?
the things I've heard when you hear about, because the way it used to work, and they do it now with digital too, but there will be like artists you are the Fievel artist. You do his close-ups and you draw them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when you hear the artists talk about it, they talk about they get to know the personality of the character, and they really try to focus on it and get to know the character. So the way that bleeds into how they draw it, and what they're doing when they're working with it. So I don't know. I'm not that good of an artist, so I don't know if that transposes over to doing it digitally versus hand drawn stuff. But there's definitely a different feel when you watch a
There is.
hand animated film versus digital.
Yeah, I'm trying to describe it in my mind, and I just keep everything just kind of moves, just like how the boat was moving on the ocean, just kind of waves.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more fluid. I'm going to stick with that word.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at a lot. It's like life. Like life is, sometimes you walk and you bobble a bit when you walk. It's not steady and smooth. And a lot of times, depending on the software you're using, everything can look you see it in very rudimentary digital mock-ups. It's like you just see an object and it just moves straight. There's no bobbling, nothing. It's just point A to point B. And obviously they have algorithms that they do when they're doing the animations to add variations and stuff. But anyway, you get that a lot. You get that organically when you have people hand drawing stuff, I think.
So did you remember a lot of it from when you were a kid?
I remember Dom DeLuise
Yeah.
as that cat.
Yes. That cat is great. What was his name? I don't remember.
Tom.
Tom?
It may have been Tom, because that would be a great name for a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Tomcat. But
He's so
it was
fluffy.
It was Tiger. It was Tiger.
Oh, okay. Thank
That
you.
makes sense because of his coloring too.
Yeah.
He's just great. I love Dom DeLuise. Every movie I've seen him in has always been enjoyable.
Mhm.
I've always enjoyed him. He has such a memorable voice too.
I know. Yeah.
That was, I remember that part. I remember most of it. I even remembered the squeaky New York kid. There's the New York mouse who takes care of. He calls him Philly instead of Fievel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember that kid. I just remember it being a solid movie I enjoyed from when I was a kid.
Hmm.
So
Cool. Did your mom cry during the song?
I don't remember, but I guarantee you she cried. Because I was probably about the age of 5 when I saw it, I would guess.
Oh.
Yeah. Secret of NIMH came out in 82, by the way. And
Oh.
this was 86. So
Oh, okay.
Secret of NIMH came first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally unrelated movies, but connected
I
in
mean,
my mind.
I
'cause
feel
they're both
like,
about
yeah,
mice.
I mean, it's like Mouse Universe type stuff. It feels like the Secret of NIMH could be like a prequel to An American Tale, right? Yeah. Oh, we should also clarify too. It's An American Tale with an I.
Yeah.
You get it? 'Cause it's
Clever.
about mice and they have tails. Yeah, you get it, right?
Oh, I'm tracking.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you
Like
for
a cat
clarifying
with a
that.
cat with a laser pointer. Do you think there was anything about this film you'd change? No?
No, I don't think so. Like, I think it wasn't. It was. I wouldn't dial back any of the seriousness.
Mhm.
It's completely handleable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't change anything about it. Why? Would you change something?
Well, I was thinking as I was listening to you, and I don't think I would. I think the songs are good. It's got a solid storyline. It feels slightly dated with the animation, but I think that like adds to it, especially given it was like a turn of, the 20th century type film.
Yeah.
So I think that actually gives it a lot of weight, and it makes a lot of sense
Mhm.
for when it was made. Yeah, I think it's good.
Has Steven Spielberg made other animated films?
I mean, I don't know how heavily he was, I'm sure, just because he's made so many movies. I mean, he does DreamWorks. That's his company.
Oh.
So, I mean...
Oh, never mind. Okay, I didn't know that.
I'm sure he's at least produced some,
Did he have a hand in Toothless?
His company made,
Those were fun.
How to
I
Train
love
Your
those.
Dragon, the movies.
Well, I was gonna say that he should do another one.
Yeah, maybe he will. What do you think the message of this film was, if there was one?
I think that it's a lot of it is having hope.
Mm-hmm.
Fievel was like, there were so many times when he lost hope and other people cheered him on.
Mm-hmm.
The French pigeon,
Oh, I love
for
that
example,
guy.
I know he's
so
awesome.
good.
He was the first one to kind of like encourage Fievel.
Yes.
And Never Say Never was the song.
Never say never. He reminded me of Lumiere a lot. Just the French singing, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, of course, there's the obvious like immigration story and finding a better life and being, but also being with your family. But the hope is what like brought Fievel through and helped him find his family again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a comment on the message?
Oh yeah. You're never not going to be around cats. There's always going to be cats, and there's always going to be problems in life.
Oh, yes.
And so the cat, that's the metaphor. There's always going to be problems. You can go across the world and there's going to be problems there. You need to just look at those things head on and work with them and address them.
With a huge mouse.
With a huge mouse. There's very few things in life that can't be handled by a 30-foot mouse.
Mm. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. If you could be like, if this were a story, because you're from a family of immigrants.
Yeah.
If you could have your family's story told in any kind of animal universe, what would it be?
Oh, so like Secret Society or
animal universe? You pick the animal. Like your like instead of humans, you are.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking about this. This is a fun question.
Thanks.
So I'm thinking mostly of my mom's side of the family because they immigrated. And we found their names at Ellis Island.
Which is super cool.
Super cool. And they came from the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no like native animals that I know of to the Netherlands. So
cheese? No.
Like there's like bird fowl, like waterfowl, but I don't want to do ducks or anything like that.
Oh, no ducks, huh?
No. My first instinct was to say like foxes, just because I love foxes.
Ooh, that'd be cute.
They're not really Dutch though. Like they don't say Dutch to me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you can decouple it from Dutch. You could just pick an animal you want to.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I mean, I really like mice too.
Oh, man. Okay.
But no, I'm going to go with maybe like cute birds.
Cute birds?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, put a picture in my mind. There's lots of different kinds of birds.
Well, so our daughter draws chickadees that wear clothes a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So like that, like birds with clothes on.
Okay. That tracks.
Yeah.
There'd be some good songs in that movie, I bet. Lots of singing and tweeting.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll tweet about it. What about you?
It's literally like knee-jerk reaction. It's the first thing that popped in my head. And I tried to think of something else, but I can't. So, iguanas.
I was going to guess squirrel.
Squirrels. That would be great too. That's way cuter. Iguanas. And
Iguanas?
the more I thought of it, the more I was just like fascinated with the idea. You know, they have those spikes on their backs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what would the clothes look like with the spikes sticking out of the clothes if they have little hats and stuff? And
I'm just shaking my head at you.
yeah.
That
yeah.
is really weird.
And then also the awkwardness of their movements. You'd have to make them a bit more humanoid. Otherwise, they have kind of a sway thing they do when they run.
Iguanas come from like southern tropical climates. Like, it doesn't make sense for your family to immigrate as iguanas. I'm sorry.
Well, I obviously...
You're not from South America.
I'm obviously decoupling from the where my people came from to like just which animal I want. So.
Yeah, so you need to go back to coupling.
I need to go back to
where your countries are.
Bears. We would be
okay.
bears.
It's going to be hard for you to stow away on a boat, but okay.
We'll be little bears. Be tiny dwarf bears. Ooh. Oh, what is it? Gerbils.
Yes,
gerbils.
That's perfect.
Let's do gerbils.
Perfect.
Yeah, sweet be gerbils. Awesome.
This is great. Well,
the kids loved it too. Like, I think this one's a great one to like introduce. It's actually really an educational one too, just for that experience. If you've never been, or you know, shown your kids anything, or if you've never seen the experience of what immigration used to be like in like that big boom period in U.S. history. It's a nice, palatable way to experience it.
Yay. Thank you, Steven Spielberg.
Thank you, Steven Spielberg.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Somewhere out there, beneath the pale moonlight, someone's thinking of me and loving me tonight.
Somewhere out there, someone saying a prayer that we'll find one another in that big somewhere out there. And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star.
And when the night wind starts to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we're sleeping underneath the same big sky.
Somewhere out there, if love can see us through, then we'll be together.
Somewhere out there, out where dreams
Come true.
I'm looking for my family.
And even though I know how very far apart we are, it helps to think we might be wishing on the same bright star.
And when the night wind starts to sing a lonesome lullaby, it helps to think we're sleeping underneath the